In a sign of how soon one of them will be the next president, representatives for both the Harris and Trump teams met just yesterday with federal transition planners. Trump, of course, famously had a rocky transition in 2016. His team delayed working with the incoming Biden team in 2020. The challenges of those transfers and those transitions that happen very quickly do show just how critical this process really is. My inside source tonight is the co-chair of the Trump-Vance transition team and the CEO of the investment firm, Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick. It's great to have you here. I imagine you are quite busy as of this moment because you're basically planning for, you don't know what's going to happen. And in this moment, there's a technical process here where you're meeting with the other teams and these federal transition planners. You're supposed to sign memorandums of understanding, these kind of ethics agreements that unlock, access to national security secrets or millions of dollars. The Trump team has not yet done so. Why not?
Well, the lawyers are sort of working on the details because the Biden administration has sort of thrown in a couple of little exciting extra words and paragraphs into it that the lawyers hadn't expected. But they're working through it, and I'm sure they'll sort it out. So that's just way below the things that are important, and we'll sort that out. But we don't need the money, obviously. It's not the money issue, so we can save the taxpayer some money. We're able to raise plenty of money on our own, and it's not going to be an issue. We are ready for the transition for Trump-Vance. We are so ready.
But do you think you'll ultimately get them signed after that jostling behind the scenes, or do you think maybe you won't sign them at all?
Oh, we'll probably get them signed, but it's, as I said, it's up for the lawyers to work it out. But these are not important issues. This is sort of a low-grade issue. The Trump-Vance transition is ready. We've got so many candidates. We are so set up. I feel great, and it is completely different than it was like in 2016.
Well, it's a lot of jobs to fill. So tell me why, in 2016, for people who are, maybe blocked, 8 years ago because it was so crazy from their memory, Chris Christie had been in your shoes planning, and Trump kind of threw the books out, and they started over from scratch after he won. You're saying it's different. How many jobs do you have? How many potential candidates do you have lined up so far?
All right, so to compare me to Chris Christie is like the difference of night and day that's possible. So I run personnel for the transition. Linda McMahon runs policy. So she's working on the policy side. So I called the 150 top Republicans in the United States of America, from Steve Schwarzman to Chuck Schwab to Ross Perot, the list, 150. They then vouched for 5 people each and say, look, these 5 people we really trust. That's 750 people. And then those people each gave between 5 and 10 people to the transition. So all vouched for, no interviews. Someone like someone, you vouch for them and you say, this is a first-class person. Then you think about it, that's like 5,000 people. Then I have the greatest teams in national security, in economics, who know the White House, who know domestic policy. And they go through all those people and they put them in the various jobs, in the various positions. And we have really, at the top positions, between 5 and 8 of the greatest candidates you've ever seen. And then I go back, because what I do, I go back for the top 150 people and say, come on, how about you serve? And they say, no, I don't really want to serve. And I go,
so you're having direct conversations with people about these potential high-ranking positions, cabinet secretaries, West Wing jobs?
I am a recruiter at a different level than most people you will ever meet. And so I just recruit them. And if there's one single inch of daylight, they're going to serve. And I have got the greatest people. I have someone who's a CEO of a $100 billion tech company. He says, okay, I'll go redo tech. You saw my relationship with Elon Musk at the rally, right? So I brought Elon Musk into it. Elon Musk's ability to do Doge, he and I worked that out together, and we structured that.
But would he actually come into the government? Because, he'd have to divest. It would be quite tricky.
He's not coming into the government. He can't sell SpaceX.
He's not going to
Tesla. No. So what he's going to be adjacent to it. Think adjacent to it, and writing software for the government, and then giving the software to the government, and helping the government. It's going to be amazing.
One other person who was on stage recently and was talking about coming into the administration is RFK Jr. He said that Trump has promised him control of the public health agencies, HHS, which would be also, CDC, FDA, USDA, all of these agencies. Is that true? Has Trump promised him basically the HHS job?
So I spent 2.5 hours this week with Bobby Kennedy Jr. And it was the most extraordinary thing because let's face it, we've all heard on the news all sorts of sort of snarky comments about him. And I said, so tell me, how's it going to go? And he said, why don't you just listen to me explain things? And what he explained was when he was born, we had 3 vaccines, and autism was 1 in 10,000. Now a baby's born with 76 vaccines because in 1986, they waived product liability for vaccines. And here's the best one. They started paying the people at the NIH, right? They pay them a piece of the money for the vaccine companies. Wait a minute, let me finish. And so all of these vaccines came out without product liability. So what happened now? Autism is 1 in 34.
Okay,
amazing.
Neither of us are doctors. Vaccines are safe. RFK, I mean,
Why do you think vaccines are safe? There's no product liability anymore. They're not proven.
Kids get them and they're fine.
Why do you think they're fine?
But because they're proven scientifically to be so.
How about this? There was 1 in 10,000 people with autism. We all know so many more people with autism than had it when we were young. Oh, come on.
Okay,
I mean, his point is really interesting.
But
so here's what he
vaccines
said.
don't cause autism,
Okay,
which is what RFK pushes, which is why people are concerned that he could get a job like HHS. And I don't even think he could
He's not getting a job for HHS. What he's trying to do, here's what he wants to do. He said, I want data. I just want data, because they block the data.
But the data's out there.
Wait, it's not.
They don't block it. You can look at it. It's online.
He wants the data so he can say, these things are unsafe. He says, if you give me the data, all I want is the data, and I'll take on the data and show that it's not safe. And then if you pull the product liability, the companies will yank these vaccines right off of the market. So that's his point. He's not trying to do anything but things that made sense. And look,
this is not where I thought this was going, because...
Well, I spent 2.5 hours
RFK Jr. is a vaccine skeptic. He pushes lies about vaccines. And I don't even think if Republicans...
Why do you think he pushes lies? Why you said... You said, I'm not a scientist and you aren't. So
but
he just wants
scientists
data.
say he pushes lies.
But scientists who are paid to say he pushes lies. I mean, let's give him the data. I think it'd be pretty cool to give him the data. Let's see what he comes up with.
Okay.
I think it's pretty fun.
He pushed conspiracies about COVID. He had to apologize for tying vaccine questions to what happened in Germany during the Holocaust.
I promise you, I have not looked at all the things he said.
So I don't think he's the leading voice that anyone's looking at for on health.
He said Roundup. Remember Roundup?
But you're saying he would not be in charge of HHS?
No, of course not.
Okay, so he's not going to be like an acting... He's not going to be the
secretary. No.
Well, he couldn't get confirmed, but would he be in an acting position or anything like that?
I just told you what he wants. He wants to help get data.
You're saying he wants access to data,
things.
but that would be...
He just wants data, and he wants to prove things are wrong. And he says, if I can't prove they're wrong, that's fine. But if I can save millions of Americans' lives and make their lives better. And I think that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure any
he's
data...
just trying to do it.
I don't think any data would back that up. But on the front of acting secretaries, that would mean they don't have to get confirmed by the Senate, which typically cabinet secretaries do. When you're planning this out, has that been a consideration to just have people in acting positions and not confirmed by the Senate in the cabinet? Well,
there's always an acting person, right? The day you come in. I mean, Biden did it, Obama does it.
Yeah, but they
Trump
get confirmed within like a month.
And then you have your confirmees. There's 1,200 confirmees to go through the Senate. So Biden only ever got 850 confirmed, even though he had Chuck Schumer.
But his cabinet is confirmed.
Oh, yeah. The big jobs
would the cabinet be confirmed?
Yeah, of course they are. And they're going to be confirmed reasonably quickly, like always happens, especially if you have the Senate, which the Republicans, if Donald Trump is elected president, he will have a majority in the Senate, and he'll be able to get his people confirmed.
We'll see. Howard Lutnick, thank you very much for your time.
Really fun.